Introduce our next speaker. This is Louise Lavergne. Louise is the owner of the Joyful Yoga Studio in Jacksonville. She is an author, spiritual teacher, international speaker of personal growth and empowerment, and has crafted several corporate wellness programs for communities like New Yoga Life, Dow Jones.
New York Life. New York Life. It's okay. But New York, they became New Yoga Life, but it was New York Life. It's okay.
A few more assets than New Yoga Life. Dow Jones, Wall Street Journal. As a joyful living coach, she offers effective and transformative tools, guidance, and inspiration. She empowers and inspires you to partner with yourself for success and personal health goals, offering tools and strategies to live your best life now. She blends scientific and mystical elements to create a bridge that connects ancient wisdom and technology to the needs and lifestyles of the 21st century. Her inspired wisdom is the culmination of her experiences in the business world, including positions of Vice President of Sales, Marketing Director, blended with 35 years of experience in metaphysical studies, including Universal Kabbalah,
Something like that.
personal development, yoga, meditation, and Qigong. She is the creator of Joyful Yoga, which is a fun and accessible way to engage with body, mind, and spirit. It results in a deep sense of presence and well-being, inside and out. And you will get to experience some of that today. And I might also add, she was a very fine neighbor when we lived.
Yeah.
Louise Lavergne.
Hi. Thank you, Jason. So if anybody has read my article this month, Mercury's retrograde as of today. Welcome to Mercury retrograde. My iPod did something it's never done before today. It froze at a thing that I didn't know I had on my iPod. It's been frozen since 7 o'clock this morning. And my PowerPoint won't work. So this is what this is all about. Be here now and deal with what is. So I love it. I love it. Because my experience and what I share with my clients and students really comes from personal experience as well as real life. You know, it's not just about these grand ideas of these ancient teachings and somehow imposing them onto you, but it's about I'm a real person dealing with real things, and how do I make the best of it? Robin talked about, those of you who were here for her talk, about the most important thing in your wellness program is you. So today I want to talk a lot about you and about how you can change your approach to wellness so that it doesn't become just something that you dread to do, but something that you love to do because you love who you are and where you want to be. So Ayurvedic medicine, you know, we hear a lot of Ayurvedic. It's a real key word, Ayurvedic. And Ayurvedic means things that come from the Vedic, from the ancient scriptures. And in the ancient scriptures, they talked about 3 things that would impact your health. And the 3 things were the misuse of our senses, overindulging, overdoing it, numbing our feelings, not giving our chance to be present with what is. And, I'm sorry. Then let yourself feel and heal. Tending to your emotional and spiritual well-being is an important part of feeling better and feeling well. Very permanent, and it makes sense to us today, not just 2,000 years ago. And then the second thing was developing a way to master our minds so that we don't just become a total slave to whatever our mind is wanting to think about or do, you know, where we just become totally a victim of our thoughts. You know, because how much harm can a little thought do, right? Well, I'm holding this little card, right? It's nothing, right? I'm holding it here. And what's the big deal? Come back and see me in an hour, and 2 hours, 3 hours, this little card that weighs nothing can cause really great damage. And it's the same way with our thoughts. So learning how to be the master of our greatest gift, which is our mind. And the third thing was anxiety, stress. So the wear and tear, that's going to cause the body to deteriorate. That's part of life. But the amount of stress and anxiety that we put our bodies through will make us age a lot quicker. So how do we bring these elements into things that make sense into our real life? So stilling the mind in the modern world is pretty hard because we have so much stimulations that pull us. There's always a beep on a phone going off. There's always something that's pulling us outside ourselves. And all of media wants you to be outside yourself and thinking about this, because as long as you're out there, you're not taking the time to really check in with yourself. And then you're constantly searching for something to feel better. So I'm going to talk a little bit about yoga today. Yes, I will talk about yoga, but the reason why I started to use yoga in my practice with the people that I was coaching and working with is that I can tell you the most valuable, powerful way to feel better. But there's only one thing that's going to work, and that's you doing it, right? And it's not just hearing about what's good for you, but it's about how do I participate? And so I started to teach people, not just to coach them, but giving them practices to help their body, their mind, on a cellular level to make the changes and to have the results that they wanted. Not just talking about it, but also working it out through your body. And breathing is one of the most important things. And if you want to know how important it is, try stopping for a while. People often say, I don't have a yoga body. If you're breathing, you have a yoga body. If you're not into breathing, then I can't help you. So the basic things that we do and we take for granted, things that we're already doing, can start to improve our health. So joyful yoga came out of a lot of years of working with amazing people, where I was blessed to train with a lot of different approaches to yoga. And there are about as many yoga practices as there are hair colors and clothing colors. I mean, there's a lot of approach. The best approach is the one that you use and that works for you, of course. I started to blend things that I learned from Kundalini Yoga, from Iyengar, from Kripalu, from Qigong masters. Oh, amazing stuff. And I started to feel that they all had really important pieces that were helpful. And I created this synergy that's not just effective, but it's also fun, because fun is a really important ingredient if you want to really stay to doing something, right? So I'll share a few techniques with you today, and what started to happen is that people would come and do different classes, and they would say, I find this really interesting, but I don't have the same lasting feeling after my other yoga class, which I really like, but I don't have the same lasting feeling as I do after the joyful yoga. So I started to look at what's the difference? What is it that's really making a difference? And because so much of what I share with you also, it isn't me. I mean, I'm just here to share with you, and I open myself to be a source of a vehicle to share the information, ultimately to pull back and look at the bird's eye view and say, this is brilliant, and start to look at the research and why it was brilliant. And so much of what we talked about in our first two speakers are going to be incorporated into what we do with joyful yoga, where we move the body gently, we move consciously, we shift from thinking to awareness. Think about it. When you're aware, it's different than when you're thinking about it. And we love to think, but as long as you're thinking, you're only staying here. How do I get myself into my whole body? So bringing a mind-body technology. I had a really cute cartoon that I was going to show you, and you were all going to laugh. So can you see? I have to show this one. So there's a guy who probably had too many hamburgers, maybe, or tofu burgers, I don't know. And his doctor said, so what fits into your schedule better? Exercising 1 hour a day or being dead 24 hours a day, right? I hear this as the biggest excuse. I don't have time. Oh, I'd love to come to class. I'm just really stressed right now. I got too much going on. I understand. But, you know, when we need it the most, so making these good choices, so feeling empowered and inspired is one of the classes that I teach, one of my online classes that I teach. What is it that makes it so difficult to make these good choices? And it's really about when we feel or our motives are disempowering. You know, we have so many stories from the past. We were told we couldn't do it, or if you're exercising because you're afraid, if fear is your motive, think about it. How healing is that? And I see people who work out and they run, and they're running from themselves. And you know what? You can't run fast enough. You're always going to be there. You can't run away from yourself. And if you can incorporate your awareness to your body, to yourself, why am I exercising? The only way to have real meaningful change is to empower yourself. And to catch yourself when you make these choices that are disempowering. I might as well eat the whole cake. I'm never going to lose the weight. You know, totally disempowering. Well, I'd love to do yoga, but I can't because blah, blah, blah. Well, how do you know? Have you even tried? I'd love to, you know, we disempower ourselves because somebody somewhere, and we carry these thoughts and these stories. You know, if you could see, I have a gift to see energetically, and I see people sometimes when they agree to work with me, otherwise I'm not looking, I'm not seeing anything. I don't impose. But It's like they're carrying this heavy bag and they go, oh, I'm so tired. I'm so tired. I can't. It's just so hard to get around. You know what? Drop the bag. Oh, really? Oh, never occurred to me. I'm going to give you 2 words that are magical to change your life. If you have something that you're doing that's not serving your higher good, you're going to write it down. Stop it! There's a great Bob Newhart YouTube that I encourage you to look about that. It's really funny. So taking responsibility for our wellness. We're running to experts to tell us the magical solutions. And I've had people come to me asking questions and questions. They want to hear a certain answer. And I told them, it doesn't matter how many times you ask, the answer is going to be the same. It's up to you. So how do you get empowered to be the master of your mind, to be the one that is going to have the greatest impact on your well-being? I teach a class about empowering yourself, and we start to look at where is it in your mind and in your memory bank where you hold these stories that are telling you that you can't do it? Where are those stories that tell you that this is the way it's supposed to be and you just have to make do with it? We accept, right? It's like the fish. You know that story about the fish in the tank? You get a great big tank, and you have this fish, and then you put a glass in the middle. And then the fish, oh, okay, well, they'll go into the glass a few times, but then they'll accept that this is their reality. You take the glass out, that fish will never go to the other side. And we are fishes many of the times. We just kind of get comfortable. Comfort is really where the resistance gets anchored in. And our ego mind wants us to stay in that comfortable place. And once you start to make friends with your mind and with this wonderful ego, because we need our ego, we need a little to show up and do it. One of the things that's going to make the biggest impact is how you meet yourself and how you meet your life. And you need to go to a deeper level. Sooner or later, you can do all your hair and clothes and be really, all this is really great and you got it going on and it's wonderful, but sooner or later you got to go in, because that's where you came here. That's what you came here to experience. Our emotions, our whole body has a map. So I started to teach people this. I have this 8-week class that I teach, and I started to teach class online because it's the 21st century. Resistance that comes up when you're dealing with a computer and technology, it's a wonderful place for us to work it out, and we start to have to think differently, and it's good. Even I don't care how old you are, it's a wonderful opportunity to start to see if you can learn something new. We talked about that, Sharon talked about that. And so you meet your resistance. How resistant am I to feeling good? That's a really good question. Because whatever it is that's going on that I know is making you feel bad, if you carry it for a long time, it's a little bit like a teddy bear. It defines who I am. It's not a judgment. It's just the way we are as human beings. We like to feel safe. And it's like holding on to that branch, right? I'm afraid to let go. And we're like struggling. And if we just let it go, we find that, wow, I have 2 hands. And I've been trying to make everything happen with just one. So in our energy centers, we hear chakras and we think, ooh, that's really, and I had a really great picture for you, by the way. Picture this, all these beautiful colors. We start to learn where in our body the stories are. And I keep it really simple, but if you think about your body, we have a lower triangle, right, and an upper triangle. Everything down here is all about survival, the earth, foundation, the lowest chakras, it's our security, our safety. The heart, it's right in the middle. That's the bridge. It's our feeling, our emotions. Then it brings us into that upper part, which is our mind. And when we allow ourselves to truly be secure and feel safe and allow ourselves to be creative and to really get into those parts, we can not only think, we can be inspired. We can tap into this amazing gift of intuition and knowing, so that we're not making our decisions based on fear. When we're basing it on fear, we're not accessing most of our resources that we have available to us. So learning how to work these gears and how I can start to identify the stories, not to go into a long 3-act play about it, but to be able to, with awareness, let it go. I don't have to carry this heavy bag of stories anymore. I can let it go. And whatever happened in the past, it's made you who you are today. And sooner or later, it's a lot easier to forgive. And forgiving isn't about saying that what happened was okay. It's about, I don't want to carry that bag anymore. I want to be who I came here to be. I want to be an inspiration to myself, to my family, to my friends. That's really what our inner voice, our inner spirit wants to be, radiant and free. So when something feels really good, and I don't mean good from, a pint of Haagen-Dazs, but really good from, you're in touch with your truth. So I like to help people find their way and teach them a way to integrate the realms of the feelings into the spirit and into the mind, body, spirit. We're a 3D experience, and our glands are the keepers of our health. How many people have had any issues with thyroid? Most common thing is sooner or later the thyroid starts to talk. Adrenals, adrenal fatigues, all these things. Our glands help everybody on board feel good. How do you work out your glands? There's no weights you can lift. There's no machine. But through yoga and in joyful yoga, there's a lot of beautiful movement that we do with breath where we're activating our adrenals. So you don't just look good, you feel good. Because you can see people who work out a lot. And by the way, if you work out, which is great, I'm going to talk about how you can make that a truly healing experience for yourself. But if you're watching the news, you're wasting your time, especially if there's bad news. People come off the treadmill, oh my God, the Dow Jones went down, oh God. They're more stressed than when they got on the treadmill. So again, being aware of what you're doing that for. So an interesting thing is that all the stories of your life, everything you've ever experienced, gets stored into these chakras or energy centers in your body. Your biography becomes your pathology, your biology. English is not my first language, so sometimes I use the wrong word. So that pathology wasn't that far off. I mixed up skeptic and septic, and that was really bad. So, pathology. But it is your pathology. Yeah. So the stories of your life, everything you've ever experienced, creates your biology. And the wonderful thing is that today, right now, in this moment, you can start to change that and improve that. You're not a victim. Once you can accept that you're not a victim and you're willing to do and take actions that empower you. And I'll tell you, one of the biggest things you can do, show up. You don't feel like going to a class and you show up, that's an empowering thing. You show up for yourself, you show up for others. I do a class, I've been doing it now for 6, maybe 7 years, at Pioneer Village. And I do one of the few other senior places. It's my way of giving back to that community. And I've got, Joan, you can tell them, you've been coming to class forever. And I've got them moving and grooving.
4 years.
4 years you've been coming. I've been there maybe 5 years. So I tell them, you all showed up. Yay! We're victorious just showing up. And how much it means, not just to you, to everybody else. So whatever it is that you do, and get a walking partner, show up. And not because you're afraid you're going to get sick. Meditation is a wonderful thing, but why are you getting up to meditate? And I've been working with this with a lot of my clients and a lot of my students. I'm afraid that if I don't do it, something bad's going to happen. We get into these superstitions. If I do my meditation, it's going to be okay. Well, yeah, but how about just meditating or taking time in the morning to let the sun rise in your heart? How would it be if the sun didn't rise, right? Do it for yourself. Take the time in the morning just to be grateful, just to be present and to acknowledge a moment to let the light be in your body. When you bring peace and light into your body, are you giving me not the finger, but the hand? Oh, okay. I said, I can't be time yet. It can't be time yet.
Do you want me to turn that projector off? It's not
yeah, probably would be, it's not doing it, it's giving me some weird shadows. And
You said Mercury's in retrograde?
oh man, is it ever. And it's a wonderful opportunity to shut that mind from thinking. That's why Mercury goes retrograde, so we go into our deeper feeling. I have a wonderful class tomorrow. I have a 2-hour class tomorrow of yoga and sound healing, and I got some sound for you. These have been all over the world, and they're in Jacksonville today for you guys, so we'll share that. So, body awareness, breathing, blah, 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 that's good. Okay, I want to get into some good stuff here. There's not much time. And I'm a Mercury girl, so I talk. Why is the breath so powerful? And in yoga, we call it pranayama. It means prana is the life force, yama harvesting our prana. So I'll tell you the best anti-aging technique you can do is to practice slow, deep breathing. In some Eastern cultures, they talk about being born with a certain number of breaths. And that's it. You're here and it's predestined, and that's a nice way to look at it. So if you're breathing like this all the time, guess what you're doing? You're speeding it up. But think about it, though, realistically in your body. When you're breathing in that shallow, rapid way, everything is, I'm trying to keep up. Your heart is like, oh man, oh man, oh man. And of course, if you're doing this all the time, what's going to happen? You're going to get tired and you're going to break down. So giving your body systems, a chance to relax. How many people hold their bellies like this? Everybody take a deep breath. Pretty good. So half of you went, you know, in the 80s, I guess, 90s, when I was doing these classes in corporate America, you know, with the big shoulder pads, the whole room would go up 5 inches. We are so disconnected from our belly. That's a bad thing. I have a thing that I do with them. It's I love my heart, I love my eyes, and as soon as they touch their belly, they can't say I love. Such a love-hate relationship. The most powerful part of your body. How do you calm your mind? Breathe into your belly. When you have something that happens, where do you feel it? Right? So they did some studies, and they found, they were looking in the microscope to these beautiful little cells, and they said, which part of the body does this come from? There's brain cells in here. I thought we were doing colon studies. There are brain cells in your gut, right? So in the chakra system, we learn to harmonize our ability to be present here with our ability to be present here, making space. Now think about this. If I was, I don't know you, so I don't want to, but if I was putting pressure on you, okay, do your job, do your job, do your job. Would you do your job? Right? Would you get off me, please? Yeah? So when you're holding it tight, that's how your body is. I'm trying to digest. I really want to poop, but I can't because you're holding it too tight, you know? Or I would really like to digest this food that I've just eaten. I've got chronic indigestion because I haven't taken a breath in forever since I was born. You know, I'm exaggerating because, you know, make the point, but that's what redheads do. How many redheads here? We're dramatic. I'm French. It's that hand motion. So breathing into your belly, letting your chance to really deep. So 3 things that we're going to talk about today that we're going to do stuff. To transform any self-care, transforming any self-care routine with 3 things. Intention, why am I doing it? Self-love, honoring, I want to be healthy, whatever, something positive. Concentration, if you're doing it while you're watching TV or you're not present, it's not going to be as impactful, right? And the last thing is the effort, discipline. You got to do it. And the discipline is where you meet your resistance with compassion.